I mean, with Majora's Mask, that was probably like the most drastic change in the Zelda plot ever.
Which is why it works so well.
Yeah, indeed, and
epic.
Yeah, really, really epic, and it deals with issues that Zelda never dealt with before, and it's dark, and yet it's so touching and just so just beautiful, really. But it sounds like they're going to do something similar with Skyward Sword, even though may just be a similar, save the princess plot, but not that's going to be much of a problem here because Zelda's, oh my gosh, she's so mellow.
Yeah, you heard it here, folks.
Yeah, sorry, she's just so cute in this one. I can't help it, but feel a big okay. Before I humiliate myself further, even though it may just be like a save the princess plot mixed up some more, which is what Zelda does best, and it does it really well throughout the Zelda series. It sounds like they're really mixing up, especially with the villain Girahim.
Yeah.
Girahim. Is that how you say it?
I think so. I'm not really sure. With Zelda, you can never tell because they never reveal how you can pronounce their names. Yeah, with Zelda, you never know because they never reveal what they are, except for Cuckoo in Twilight Princess, where there was that golden cuckoo that sings "Twinkle Twinkle Little Cuckoo," and you can just tell by the rhyme that it's a cuckoo in the English localization. But that's beside the point. But so with Girahim, I mean, it seems like he's going to be more effectual villain, and they're not really revealing much info about him at this point, so I think that's really, really good storytelling right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because the less they say at the beginning and the gradually they tell it, the more it makes sense, and therefore the more, I compared this to, in my review of Spirit Tracks on the Desert Colossus, I compared the storytelling approach, the ideal storytelling approach, to be like a carrot on a stick, if you will, so that you don't give the carrot to the steed that you're riding if you want to ride him. You hold it in front of him so that he has something to look forward to, and yet still gets you where you're going. With a lot of Zelda, with Spirit Tracks in particular, was one of my beasts with Spirit Tracks, which, by the way, I still think is a really good game, so I'm not knocking it.
Yeah.
But one of my beasts with Spirit Tracks was that it revealed a lot of the backstory about Malladus, the main villain of the game, at the beginning. And the thing about that was, and they really didn't explain much about him later on. Yeah. There wasn't much backstory at all, but of course they did the same thing with Majora's Mask, and of course look where Majora's Mask went.
Yeah.
So, and they did the same thing with Bellum as well. Well, kind of with Bellum. I mean, they give him a little backstory, but I mean, other than saying, oh, this dude exists and he sucks people's life energy. Other than that,
they didn't really put too much effort into his backstory.
Yeah, that's what a lot of Zelda games do, except for like Ganondorf, which they flushed out and then reused and recycled for a lot of Zelda games.
The best Ganondorf backstory was definitely the one in the Wind Waker, though.
Yes, that is without a doubt the best backstory they've given Ganondorf, and it made him much more sympathetic, and it just kind of makes you feel bad about stabbing him in the forehead at the end.
Yeah, kind of, only slightly.
Yeah.
Well, or it could have been a relief from his suffering, so depending on, I guess, how much of a Paladinus attitude you bring to it.
Yeah, that I guess that's true as well. So, then, what about you, Alex? Any last thoughts before we continue our discussion?
I think Girahim, is that how you say it? That's it, right?
That's how I pronounce it, so...
Okay, Girahim. I think he looks a little less intimidating than Ganon, but I'm hoping they make him super cool and super evil.
He already looks super cool and super evil, in my opinion.
I don't know. No, he doesn't.
I mean, he does. I mean, he does look...
I'm not intimidated at all.
Well, yeah, he does have this flare of fabulosity. But... Super duper. But if you see one of the battles that Link partakes in, which I believe was a result of was from E3, you see him, licking Link.
Yeah.
So there's that creepiness about him. So he's probably not right in the head.
Right.
So, kind of like Zant, if you will. But of course, but what makes him cool though is that when you fight him, he can block your sword and hold it in his fingers, just 3 fingers or something, or maybe even just 2 fingers. And that tells you how bad someone is.
Yeah, it reminded me of Zaruki Kenpachi from Bleach.
Pretty much. So yes, so Girahim really does have potential in my opinion. He has so much potential, and I really look forward to what Nintendo's going to do with him. So let's look forward to that, shall we?
Oh yeah.
But anyway, back to Ganondorf not being in Skyward Sword. His appearance in Twilight Princess has been a base breaker for just about everyone, and this has been like about almost 5 years ago, or almost 4 years ago,
Gosh,
or almost 5 years ago. Long? Yeah. Actually, yes, time does fly, doesn't it? It's kind of sad. But yes, it has been almost 5 years. But the base is broken for that long about how Ganondorf. Oh, he's such a cool villain, which he is. I'm not denying it. He's a cool villain. He made the last fight really epic. But there are also these people who say, oh, they just shoehorned him in the last minute just to keep the fans happy, which I believe they also did as well, because his appearance just seemed kind of out of left field. But in the sense of the story about how the split timeline goes into play, it kind of makes sense, because I mean, there are 2 Ganondorfs, kind of. One in the adult timeline and 1 or 2 in the child timeline, depending on my theory.
Right.
You're going with the split timeline theory?
Yeah, because that's actually been confirmed, so I'm just going along with what makes the most sense. So we have the Wind Waker Ganondorf, which reveals his backstory. And that was when he was just sealed in the evil realm and stuff. But in the child timeline, that was when Link warned Zelda that Ganondorf was not a very cool guy. So they told the king about it as well, and then he kind of believed him. And I have a feeling the Triforce of Courage had something to do with it, since it was split around that time as well, as evidenced in Twilight Princess, which takes place after Majora's Mask, which takes place after Link tells Zelda about Ganondorf's plan,
right,
in Ocarina of Time. And so they had to take care of Ganondorf in some way in the child timeline, and it turns out they did, and they ended up killing him in the end.
Yeah.
So I understand from that perspective. But with the perspective of Skyward Sword, there are people who wanted him in Skyward Sword, which in my opinion makes absolutely no sense. Because in Ocarina of Time, that was his start of darkness. Like, that was how that's how he got his power and all that, and how he wanted to do, you guessed it, take over the world.
Of course!
Yep.
And, so that's where he got his power and stuff, and that's also where his conquest for the Triforce began. And, of course, that's concurrently where he got his power, and I'm saying that way too much. And that's also where the Triforce was split. In the Wind Waker, it's split. In Twilight Princess, it's split. So they had to do something about that. But with Skyward Sword, the Triforce isn't split, and that was before Ganondorf's Start of Darkness, so it makes absolutely no sense for Ganondorf to be in there, unless he time travels, which is a butt pull.
Yeah.
No other way to put it, really.
It's a booty pull.
Pretty much. So I'm really glad to hear that they're not putting Ganondorf in Skyward Sword. I mean, he's a cool guy and all, but he really needs a break. Or he needs a retirement fund. I'm sorry, but I think they use Ganon way too much, and there needs to be another villain to take on the reins. And they kind of did it with Body. So
yeah.
So what do you guys think?
I agree.
You agree?
I agree too.
Yeah. Any other thoughts?
Just that I'm really, really, really excited.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. Oh, Skyward Sword's gonna be so awesome.
I wonder what they're gonna do in terms of a like a hookshot weapon. Because I mean, they're gonna.
Well, they already have the whip.
Right, but I think that the whip might be upgraded to the hookshot. Like, you know how you replace older items with improved items as the game goes on.
Pretty much. I guess that's true as well. So I guess that's definitely a possibility.
I'm just looking forward to seeing.
But considering the control interface with the whip compared to the hookshot, with the hookshot you just have to point and aim. With the whip, you kind of just have to whip it around and stuff. So I don't think they'd want to, change an item just because, oh, one's better than the other, or one does something like that or something.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it, but with a hook shot, I'm thinking they're just kind of probably going to use the whip for that. I mean, that's what they did in Spirit Tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of. So...
I have a question.
Yeah, fire away.
Has the harp been confirmed, or is that just conspiracy?
I have no idea, personally. Apparently there is going to be an instrument in game. That much has been pretty much been confirmed.
It's going to be like possibly a harp, right?
Yeah, that's what I said.
I actually, I don't know. I don't know
It's
about
okay.
it though. I can't.
Okay.
I can't confirm that myself. But
I just
what
haven't heard anything else on it
Yeah.
besides.
yeah,
Oh, I saw this in the trailer.
yeah. But what I do know is that there is going to be an instrument. I think.
That's going to be awesome.
Yes, indeed. So, but with the harp, it would make sense because you have the Wii Motion Plus and all that, and there's a plucking thing implied about that. I mean, you
Right.
can't really blow a harp unless Hyrule really is that advanced with its musical instruments, like
A blow harp.
a blow harp. Someone should really make that. That'd be cool.
That would be interesting. I think they already have a blow harp, and it's called, like, an organ.
Well, but a harp isn't a... Well, an organ isn't a string instrument, though. It's like a woodwind, kind of. Woodwind keyboard. Or
Right.
brass. I don't remember. But, yeah. So there pretty much has been an instrument been confirmed, as far as I know. So, until it actually comes out, though, we're gonna have to find out what it is.
Yep, and you can always find more theories here on the SandCast.
Yes, and by extension, the Desert Colossus, so please visit the Desert Colossus forums, and we will love you long time.
Mm-hmm. Desert Colossus forums are located at desertcolossus.com/forum. That's DESERTCOLLSSUS, and you can probably find it down in the description for the video.
Just like in every other SandCast video. But anyway, any last thoughts before we close?
I think we just about covered all the topics we intended to.
Yep, so, any last words, everybody?
Well, thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for being here.
Yes.
That's true. Well, we're very glad to have both of you here. We're all really glad to have both of you here. And
I'm really glad that everybody's here.
And I'm really glad that everybody's glad that you're here.
Yay.
So anyway, this has been the 5th SandCast. Thank you very much for listening to us, and we hope that it won't take nearly as long for the next episode to come out. No guarantees, of course, given we're worse than VG Cats.
Yeah.
So, anyway, this has been the SandCast, and remember, if all else fails, use fire. I am Magmar Fire.
Tachyon Black.
Alex.
And this has been the SandCast, and good night.
Bye.
Bye.